let's talk about what I mean when I say NSEV. So, NSEV is acronym for non-somatic extraordinary vessels. In particular, it's a specific lineage and it's an academy, healing academy I learned from about how to use the extraordinary vessels for wellness, healing, cultivation, personal development. So, in Chinese medicine, Chinese philosophy, the physiologic concepts, there are these channels for qi, the life breath energy is not the best term, but qi is qi. I'm not going to explain qi right now, but it's a core concept of of what it constitutes everything in the Chinese medicine, cosmology, and philosophy. And they on the person and in the person, they flow through these meridians, these channels, and you could consider them these rivers. But if you go deeper than the river, if you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, you'll come to the sea, the seas that are below the the um, the meridians, the channels, the rivers. So extraordinary vessels are really these primordial seas and fields that are generative, but also just below and deeper than the other meridians that the qi flows through. And there are 8 of these extraordinary vessels, and as I say here, it's deeper than the rivers, actually deeper than the seas, deeper than the trenches. These primordial fields, the dynamic potency, the 8 extraordinary vessels, the Yang Wei, the Dai, the Yinwei, the Chong, the Ren, the Du, the Yin Chao, and the Yang Chao. And we'll talk about each of them very briefly. Okay. So the Yang Wei, as I call it, is the outer link. It's how we take on the world, is how we receive the world, is how we receive external things on our skin and our impressions, the air we breathe, the world on our shoulders, the things we eat. It's just how we receive the world, and call it the outer. I call it the outer link. In a poetic way, I say the liminal epithelium, the outer gate to my space. Ingestion, food, air, impressions, expectations, the meeting place, sailing, skimming, surfing. On the outermost depths, holding on and letting go and holding on. So when we have an imbalance of our yang wei, or we have it's not quite generating and maximally, optimally working the way it should in this totally potent way, then we have issues. We say, oh, the world's on my shoulders. Things people say to us bother us a lot. Or we may just not have a good skin, not just physiologically, but kind of in our psyche and our emotions and our thoughts. They can get almost invaded very easily if a yang wei isn't really doing what it does and receiving in a very healthy and a wholesome way. So when we cultivate the yang wei, when we work with the yang wei, whether through acupuncture, using magnets, or qigong, or other activities, or breathing, this is what we're working on, where how we receive the outer world. Next, we have the dai, and it's how we go into the outside world. It's how we navigate the outside world. In a poetic sense, well, it's a lot have to do with how we present ourselves to the world, right? As a doctor, as a man, for me as a Asian American, etc. So let's read through this poem here. So, are you a job? Are you a career? Are you a profession? Are you an expert? Are you a specialist? Are you one with knowledge to share? Are you a physician? Are you a healer? Are you one that is there for others? Are you a fellow human being? Are you a navigator and student of life? Are you also a part of the cosmos? So I wrote this poem in a way it telescopes out the topmost line of each uh, part is the most specific, right? As a physician, yes, I'm a physician, but more expansively, my role can be considered being a healer. But even more expansively, my role is to be someone that's just there for others. And even more expansively, I'm just a fellow human being, a navigator in this world, a fellow navigator, and part of the cosmos. So when this die, extraordinary vessel, gets imbalanced or we have issue with it, there may be over identification, or we think, if I think, oh, I'm just the doctor and being doctoring is my life, and when I'm with my family, I'm gotta be the doctor. When I'm at a concert, I'm the doctor. There is this imbalance in terms of how I navigate the outside world. So when we cultivate work with the die, it's about cultivating and working with this aspect of our totipotency, this extraordinary vessel. Next, we have the Yinwei. It is the inner link. It is how we receive the inner world, the world of not measurements, not quantities, and not things that are clearly discernible. These are the metaphors, the when the sun is going down and things seem dim, and we have these images and things relate to each other, and that is the inner world and how we receive those things. Let's say how the fire lights and makes shadows and creates stories and metaphors and images, and it's how we navigate, how we receive that inner link, the inner world. So my poem, the setting sun's trail of colors, the tide's marks on the shifting sands, the stories being told by the clouds, the stories you tell the clouds. Softening shapes and forms, dissolving measurements and borders, all of expanse of the inner universe, all of expanse of the outer universe. Where words mean even more, and meanings are beyond words, approaching the still point approaching. And this is the realm, the extraordinary vessel that we work on when we want to, or where we there's need to receive and sit with uh, hardships, feelings, and emotions that we may want to bypass in order to not deal with those sorts of things. But this is receiving that inner world of meanings without words. That's really important for wholeness and integrity and all of those things. So Yinwei is the inner link. Next we have the Chong. It's how we navigate the inner world. And by inner, I don't mean um, my gastrointestinal tract or inside my chest. It is this innerness that we're navigating. The totipotent zygote, the undifferentiated whole, the no thing before and in everything, the no thing in everything, depths of the depths, universal solvent, undisintegrated, all the parts and partless, dissolution, evolution, resolution, the universe being birthed in every now. This is the wholeness of everything, but also the no thing. It's kind of most abstract way, but this is also the source of the 8 extraordinary vessels. So the Chong is one of the 8 extraordinary vessels, but really they're all also part of this origin, the originating, the evolving, but also the resolving Chong. It is the oneness. It is a sensation understanding of the oneness of our essence, uh, that is the presence that is everything, the interconnectedness of really things, but also you could call it matter, energy as in E equals MC squared, but also beyond that, thoughts, emotions, and the collectiveness of the cosmos, but also even before that, right? Before the zygote, that which is the zygote before the zygote, and that is the Chong extraordinary vessel. And the Chong can be uh, gives birth or it lends itself to the Ren and the Du, which I'll talk about next. The Ren is the storehouse of the Yin. It is where all the Yin is, quote unquote. It is the source of our yin-ness, and the yin yang of Chinese philosophy, medicine, cosmology. And the Chong is both the Ren and Du, but it's before the Ren and Du. The Chong is the before the yin and yang, and is the yin and yang, and is the before even yin and yang was there. Right now, and as it always was. So when we're working with the Chong, really we're working with this oneness, this integratedness, wholeness that we always were and we're meant to be and are and is. Yeah. And but when we're working on the Ren and Du, whether acupuncture or other means, we're focusing a little bit more on the Ren, the Yin storehouse. But in actuality, if you work on any of them, you're working on all of them. As I said, they're all one thing. They're just 8 different aspects of it. And so the Ren is the storehouse of Yin, parasympathetic power in relation to the sympathetic power, nourishment, nurturing, everything contained in pats on the head, hugs for the soul, and so much more and more. Hanging out with the warmth in the darkness, the coolness in the shade, sharing the same song, sharing the cozy blanket of life, shared identity with others and all. It is this nurturedness and the nurturingness of this of the darker, cooler yinness, and the Ren is the storehouse of all of that. So we would cultivate or work with this when there perhaps may be issues of giving too much away and nurturing others but not being nurtured ourselves, or feeling that we were not nurtured or a situation isn't nurturing, or aspects of that, perhaps disconnection with parental figures or those that we would have expected this nourishing from, and much more. So the Du is the storehouse of Yang, the potential for attention, drive, motivation, everything contained in the newly sparked idea and impulse, the capacity for momentum, hanging out with the warmth in the midday, the charge in the brightness, authorizing self sovereign, authorizing self governance, authorizing autonomy. It's that this is the idea and the momentum and attending to a to delivering and being there, being and going and doing this thing, this impulse. So the Ren could be relatively. It's more the uh, and they actually both of them together really you need both of them to do the tending and attending to things. It's being there and then doing, being and becoming. And these are the two halves, but also children of the Chong. And then we access the yin that's in the ren and the yang that's in the du. So yin chao, we're accessing the yin, tapping into the wells of embodied emotions, flowing feelings, effecting affects, drawing from the depths of nourishment and nurturing, of intelligence of shape and form, of universal femininity and mothering, heel by heel, toe by toe, step by step, traversing and translating self into the world. And Yang Chao, accessing the Yang, the Yang. Unstabilized and unbalanced, racing thoughts, hyperactive distraction. Stable and balanced, clear mind, smooth shape, flowing function. Perpetual, peaceful, purposeful, kinetic mentality, impulse and momentum, toe by toe, heel by heel, step by step. So we cultivate or work with the yin chao when there is this excessive or constant changing of emotions, one emotion to another emotion, and the emotions gets riled up continually and in an unbalanced way. So having this kind of emotion and emotion just keeps welling up, or perhaps even the emotions there, but it's not welling up. Although that's also kind of the Yinwei there too. And Yang Chao is the distractedness of thoughts, one thought to another thought to another thought at night, just racing thoughts to this and this and this and this and this. But it's also if the imbalance of the Yang Chao would have the not the suboptimal ability to draw from those thoughts and the getting those ideas into the mind to then to speak of. So you can use these magnets and chords, which is the from the NSEV Academy's teaching. The easiest way really to do these is, as you can see, I put magnets on the master and couple point for the extraordinary vessel. In this case, we have the die, and you sit with it with the magnets on, taped on, with the magnets for 20 to 40 minutes. And I do this every morning, usually in the morning. And this is allows you to access that the potency of any of the 8 extraordinary vessels: the Yangwei, the Dai, the Yinwei, the Chong, the Ren, the Du, Yin Chao, Yang Chao, which are all again components and parts of the Chong. I mean, the Chong is also part of the Chong. And this NSEV tradition and Chinese medicine in general has a lot of roots in the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, and you can also call, maybe not exactly, but the way of the way in the Tao Te Ching. It just speaks to this Chong and extraordinary vessel. So I'll read the first chapter here from the Red Pine translation of the Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. The way that becomes a way is not the immortal way. The name that becomes a name is not the immortal name. No name is the maiden of heaven and earth. Name is the mother of all things. Thus, in innocence, we see the beginning. In passion, we see the end. 2 different names for one and the same. The one we call dark, the dark beyond dark, the door to all beginnings. So that is the summary of the NSEV model, extraordinary vessels, and it's just a powerful and actually very simple way to navigate and receive the world, navigate our inner worlds, the outer world, access our totipotency for healing, for wellness, for cultivation, for personal development, and is one of the models and perspectives I use in my in how I work with people to help them really awake to their potential, manifest their meaning in their life. Because it has highly impacted my life, and you can see it is so just there's this power and potency in it. Just hearing all these things, and if you would like to check out how I can help you, how I help others with the NSCV, and as well as my other tools that I use, the Enneagram, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, Jungian Psychology, and the existential philosophy to help physicians do soul searching, find their meaning, and really live well, whole, fulfilling lives. Check out my website and my other videos. My website is drfrancisyu.com, as well as you can follow me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Dr. Francis Yu. I'll be keep posting more of these posts about NSEV, as well as the other ways I basically things that interest me for personal development.